Good morning, everyone, and welcome to June 6th, the Wellness Revolution. My name is Lise Robinson, and I hail all the way from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. If you don't know where that is, it's called the City of Champions. I'm in Western Canada, and we welcome you. I just want to take a moment to introduce Randy Joe.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Like Lee said, this is exciting. We're going almost on a year and a half of doing this on once a month on Saturdays, the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So this is very exciting. And I'm from Colorado, and so it's exciting to be here. And like a lot of people may know already or not know, Lisa and I met with Forbes Riley. So she was our connector. So I really am grateful for that. And this is what we've kind of expired from this and just empowering others to speak their stories. And it's just been so much fun. And with further ado, I'm going to introduce our first guest, who is Heather Kneale. And she is from way northern Colorado on the Oregon border almost. So she was just introducing us before we got on. And so in 2005, Heather Kneale was a respiratory nurse given just 2 months to live. After antibiotics, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, naturopath failed to help. She discovered a mineral balancing through her hair tissue analysis. 4 months later, a chest x-ray revealed the condition was gone. I am so excited to hear this because I've heard about the hair testing and stuff, and my husband
Right.
done it as well. And so I don't know how true it is. So we just got ours done in the first of the year. So it's like, is it true or not? So when I heard Heather was doing this, it's like, oh, I'm so excited to see, okay, what is the truth? So Heather, I would love to hear your story. Thank
Oh,
you.
wonderful. So I worked in the medical field for about 15 years and I got really sick. It was the type of fatigue I can't even really describe. It was non-lifelike. That's really what it was. The best description of it. We had to sell our house. We hadn't even had our house for a year, and we had to sell it. And I had to move in with my in-laws because I could not take care of my newborn baby. And my doctor, he called me in his office 5 times to do the exact same test because he didn't believe the results. I had a fungal pneumonia in my lungs that when I took care of patients with this, they didn't survive. So I knew it was bad. So my doctor sat me down and he said, "You have about 2 months to live. Get your affairs in order. And oh, if you stop breastfeeding your baby, you might live a little longer." So I felt sorry for myself for a few days. And then I just started going to all of these alternative health practitioners. Antibiotics didn't work. The, uh, the alternative health didn't work until I found a hair analysis. And I didn't know what it was. I did it. I was desperate. And I started on the mineral program based off of my hair analysis. And from there, I went 4 months, got a chest x-ray. I already bypassed my 2 month death sentence. So it's 4 months. My chest x-ray is clear. And my doctor says, "Thank your lucky stars." So for me, that was the beginning of this. I'm like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Is this even a solution? But it is because minerals are the foundation, not a last resort. I made them a last resort, not because I didn't know. They fire our brain, they help our gut, they turn our food into energy. So if we don't have the right minerals, which every test I've seen, people don't have the right minerals, or they're guessing and trying to figure it out. And I have 6 pillars that I like to go by for healing is get your hair test. The hair test is a blueprint of the last few months. So it's different from blood. Love blood. It tells you, what's going on right there and then. But a hair test gives you a metabolic blueprint for 3 months and tells you what to take, what you need, if you have a good practitioner. The second thing is gut health. That's a big one. I've been taking training for a while. The gut is the hub of your immune system. The third one is your nervous system. You've got to calm it down. This could be number one. It doesn't matter what type of program you're doing. If you are amped up, can't relax, you're running around, you're saying yes all the time, and you could be running around just in your head. That was me. I was super tired, and I'd just be like thinking constantly, should I be doing that? What am I having for dinner? Can't even make dinner. so that was the nervous system. We have to heal in the rest and digest state. So you've got to work on that. The next one is diet. Food. Oh yeah. So that's a fun one, but you need to shop around the outside aisles of your grocery store, or go to farmers markets. Try new foods. You want a variety of foods. If you are limited to just 3 foods, you need to work on the gut first. That's the number one thing. Lifestyle. What we do on a regular basis makes a difference. So if we stay up late every night and get up early every day, eventually it's not going to benefit our health. And then the last one is supplements. I leave this one last because I feel like we need to do some of the other things first. Supplements, I think, are fantastic, but I find people don't know what to take, or they're just guessing. I did it. I called it my graveyard drawer. I'm like, oh, this is for hair, this is for stomach, this is for, it all looked good. And so I took it all. But when I got my hair test, it wasn't helping. There is a way to improve your mineral balance if you know how to do it. There's only 2 doctors that I know how to do this. It's been over 50 years. You need to be doing those kinds of programs. Okay, back to you, Lise and Randy Joe.
Thank you. So, I have a question for you. So it sounds to me like you were having a major crisis. How long ago was this, and what minerals did you take in order to help to heal your entire system and reboot your system? Because I was reading about some of the information that you were sharing, and it is quite the journey that you've been on.
So it was 21 years ago. And the reason why I remember that is because my daughter is 21 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's when I started. Now, the minerals that I took were based off Dr. Paul Eck, and I still use those to this day. That is the company I work for. I work with their hair analysis company. Analytical Research Labs is the one that I work with. I've seen lots of people heal from these. And it's not just supplements, but the supplements were based off of my hair analysis results. So, for example, I was showing really high calcium and magnesium on my hair chart and very low sodium and potassium. So I needed a B vitamin. There was a bunch, vitamin A, some glandulars, but it was specific. Dr. Pollack figured this out, that you can take random and you can even try to match some of these things, and we still don't get the results. I've tried for years, believe me. Had a baby who could not take, I was crushing up the supplements. She was 2 years old. I'm crushing them up, and I'm like, gosh, there's got to be a better way, or capsules, and she's only 2. She's not swallowing pills. So I was crushing them up and giving them to her, and she would sleep. This is a baby that did not sleep. If I crushed them up and gave them to her, she'd sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, well, I could find a liquid brand. I have a degree. I can get these really expensive brands. And I did. I would get crazy results. First of all, they didn't help her. She didn't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't calm down. The other problem was that when I got her hair test, she had her magnesium go off the chart, or just crazy, like not absorbing these minerals, because we have to have good minerals and in the right amount. And this, I don't hear anybody talking about this. I go to talks all the time, constantly.
Hmm.
So,
It sounds to me like, taking control of your health and finding the right solution for yourself was key to overcoming the death sentence that you were given. And to me, that's so inspiring that you've come to the point where you have this pneumonia and that is sucking the life out of you. You don't know if you're going to live or not, especially with a brand new baby. Oh my
ugh.
goodness. Um, I can't imagine how devastating that news was to get, but it sounds to me like you worked out through your brain that you need to take control of your own health.
Oh, definitely. Well, I was told by my doctors, I even called them back. They were my friends. I worked in the medical field, and so I called back, and they still are my friends. But I called back and said, "Look, I found something that could really help people. I'm still alive."
Mm-hmm.
And they just said, "Oh, it was, you lucked out, or it must have been just something that was going to go away, or, they, and I'm not saying that they're bad people or anything. It's just how we're trained. I came from a
Mm-hmm.
medical family. We have surgeons, we have lots of doctors. And so I would have never tried alternative medicine unless something devastating like this happened to me."
And look at you, you're just
Yeah.
thriving. Congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you.
I did have it. So it's like you don't know, right? And I think my no, I'm from the my mom was a nurse for 40 some years too. And it was that learning that. And my dad was like, okay, we need to do supplements. And my mom was a Western medicine and blah, 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 back in. So it's like, okay. And I'm more like dad, it's like, I got to know this. I want to know the nutrition piece of it because there's more ways to skin a cat, like they say. And if this isn't working, why keep doing the same thing over and over again? And it's like, and you coming from the respiratory world too, and then having pneumonia, it's like you would think you would know what the fix would be, but it wasn't working. So you
No.
did the alternative, which is great that your mind told you the gut told you, hey, there's
Yes.
something more out there. And that's how I am too. I'm a gut person. If I listen to my gut more than my brain, I seem to do better. I don't know what it is, but it's just it's how I was raised too. You listen to the gut,
Yeah.
and he is the gut because that's your core. And if that isn't healthy, you're not thinking properly either.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
curious, how many times do you do the testing? So you take your minerals and stuff, and do you go back every 3 to 6 months, or how?
That's about right. Exactly. It really depends on the person. I I tell them like 3 to 4 months in the beginning, but not everybody can do that. And maybe they're only taking a little bit of the supplements or something. So we might go to like 6 months or 4 months. But in the beginning, I try to get a little sooner. And then as they do it for a little while, we might go out every 6 months and I let them choose. Yes, testing is great and you need to do it on a regular basis, but realistically, I want people to do some of the program. And if that's eating better and sleeping better and all of those great things that I go over with them, that is really more important to me than just staying on a strict testing method.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. They got to live their life too, right? And
Right.
it's just right. You got to test that part of it too. And as we get older too, it's like, and Lisa and I were talking before we got on today, is like, we are already in our pretty much our third quarter of our life, right? Or last or fourth quarter. I don't know what do you want to call it, but we're
Right.
getting closer that, that TNT's lit and it's like that firecracker's going to go off, and it's like, how can we be healthy and still enjoy and not be 80 plus years old and sitting at home and saying, I wish I would have, I wish I could have, all that. And you having this opportunity for people to share your story. I'm just excited that you're here and you can share it with others and your daughter too. I'm sure she's thriving too, being on
Oh,
that.
yeah. she was autistic. We were told she was autistic when she turned 2. That's why I started doing the hair test on her. She didn't even have any hair. She was like, little sprouts started coming up, she had like, and so I cut it off. My husband was like, oh, because it was beautiful blonde. And I'm like, I've got to do this, honey. And so we saw, she had a lot of heavy metals, aluminum, mercury. I'd only been breastfeeding her. So she got those probably from me. I did get lots of, you know, toxins through my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they told us to get her diagnosed when she was 3. I just kept her on the supplements as best I could, and it was hard because they have sensory issues. They have she didn't like the smell, she didn't like the taste. I mean, but I did it. I cried, but I did it.
Mhm.
Now you wouldn't even know. I mean, some loud noises bother her and some small things bother her, but she's in college getting straight A's and she writes beautifully. She writes her own music. It's so exciting.
Oh, wow, fantastic. That's a testimony that you'll be able to pass on to the next generation, especially with your daughter, seeing that she's thriving and she's really doing well for herself and mastering her own life. So, congratulations on making the supplements and also the testing a part of your life and being treatable. So, giving hope to the people out there watching that this hair analysis thing could really help to pivot your own health by finding the supplements that you need, especially the minerals that, the Garden of Life provides for us. So we have all these opportunities from, the medical world to, nature and finding the balance that works for us because we're
Exactly.
not all designed with the same DNA in order to have the best foods for us. But when we have those outcomes of learning about what it is that our bodies truly need, we can heal ourselves. So you're a testimony for that. And that's why we started this Miracle Magic. So you could share your story with us and also Paul, who's coming up next, and telling us about, the reality of how we can change and impact the world through our story. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart because I learned a lot from what it is that you do and helping people to navigate their best life ever.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. With that being said, Heather, how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way for people to get more information?
They can go to it's named rainbowsandbutterflies.net. I know.
Okay.
It's my nickname. So I'm very optimistic. So rainbowsandbutterflies.net. Or if you just want to email me, it's Heather Kneale, just like you see on the screen here, at gmail.com. And we can set up a time to talk. I do that for free, by the way, just to see if it's something that will work for you. That's the most important for working with me.
Perfect. And we will put that also in our narratives in the YouTube channel. So people that are watching the replays will have that information along with Paul's information too.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, yes. So our next guest is Paul. Welcome, Paul. Paul's story began in a profound loss. After losing his wife to cancer in 2017, he literally lost his voice. To grief, what emerged from that painful journey became a transformational method called transformation through voice. He teaches professionals how to rebuild the voice they use with themselves by first rebuilding the voice that they use out loud, which is skills first, confidence follows, identity shifts, and the inner voice finally changes. So, with 40 years in the corporation leadership, 8 patents, 5 books, and countless transformed clients, Paul helps people finally speak what's on their heart in a way others can truly hear. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm so glad you're here to share your story. And
Well,
sorry for
thank
the
you.
loss.
Yeah, thank you, ladies, for having me, and I appreciate that. All right, we ready to start?
We are. Are you?
I am.
Good.
Have you ever had something true sitting right there in your heart and it just wouldn't come out? I've come to believe that wellness isn't only about what happens inside of us, it's about whether what's true inside of us can reach the people who matter. Because there's a voice you use out loud, and there's a voice you use inside with yourself, the one only you can hear. And those two voices, well, they're more connected than we realize. What you tell yourself on the inside is directly linked to what you can or sometimes can't say to the outside world. So today, I want to talk about what sits in that gap. Because if we understand that gap and we begin to clear it, then wellness begins to open up. So my story starts here in 2017. I lost my wife, Carolyn, to cancer, and we were married for 27 years, and there was no version of me that wasn't connected to her. My thoughts, words, work, plans, sense of me, all of it had her woven through it. And when she died, something happened that I didn't really expect, and not my broken heart that I expected. What I didn't expect is this: I lost my voice. And I mean that literally. By noon each day, I could barely speak. My voice was tired, it was strained, and it hurt a lot. And I found out that's called vocal fatigue. But the strangest part to me wasn't that the sound was gone. The strangest part to me was what the loss was revealing. You see, a part of my identity was suddenly missing. And that loss of my identity was revealing itself through my voice. Now, rebuilding my voice, that taught me something I couldn't have learned any other way. You see, I learned that your voice isn't just the words you say. Your voice is literally the vessel that carries who you are, your identity, out into the world. And when that vessel is clear, what's in your heart can reach the world. But when something gets in the way, you can feel like you've lost your own self, even when you know you're standing right there. Now, I started calling that something interference. And I think of this interference as anything that stands between what's in you and the people in front of you. For me, as you learned from my story, that interference was grief. Deep grief like I'd never known before. But grief, I've learned, isn't the only kind of interference that keeps us sharing from what's on our inside with the outside world. Fear is interference. That kind of fear that tightens your throat before a hard conversation. The habit of saying the safe thing instead of the true thing. That's interference. The years of being told this, shut up, be quiet, or keep what's on your heart to yourself. That's interference. And one of the most popular. The pressure to sound confident when inside you're not confident at all. That's another type of interference. Different sizes, different stories, but all running in the same gap. And yet, for all these different forms of interference, what I've found is that they all, well, for the most part, there's always an exception or two, but that they all get solved the same way. And that's not through technical work alone. For me, in my story at first, I did start to get my voice back through technical work by rebuilding the instrument. But alone, it wasn't enough. There was something still missing. The ability to let what I was feeling move through my voice again. And in that moment, way back then, when I was dealing with all the things that go with that kind of grief and somehow trying to heal through it, in those moments, that's when it hit me. I couldn't just rebuild the instrument. I literally had to rebuild me, to become vulnerable again, to share myself with the world and not be afraid of loss, even though I now knew how painful that was. And as I did that work, a steadier version of me then revealed itself. And that's when my voice and the man I was becoming came back together. And looking back, as I did the work to understand the meaning of the past, I realized something more. As the voice I used out loud came back, the voice I used inside began to change too. Steadier and kinder, and here's the big one, more honest. It turns out these two voices heal together. And that's the order, by the way. Skills first, confidence. Earn confidence from those skills follows. And then identity shifts, and then the inner voice changes. Rebuild the one the world hears, and the one only you can hear starts telling a different story. So I want to give you something simple today, nothing complicated, just a small way to feel the connection between your breath and your voice and your inner self. It's the first step on the technical journey to vocal mastery, and it also happens to be the first step toward identity work as well. So wherever you are, just let your shoulders soften a little bit and let your jaw loosen. And just take a slow breath in through your nose. And now exhale gently, like you're not trying to force anything, just let the air leave. And done right, just that one breath starts to regulate the nervous system. And again, breathe in slowly, and this time as you exhale, make a quiet hum, just enough to feel a little vibration. Not loud, doesn't have to be pretty, just present. And that little hum is the beginning of connection. Breath becoming sound. Something inside of you starting to move outward. Now, one more time, breathe in and hum gently as you exhale, and notice something else. Your voice doesn't begin in your throat, it begins with your breath. It begins with the body. It begins before the words. Because your voice is more than just the words, and it always has been. It's you. And that matters because the real work begins earlier, before the words. It begins with clearing the interference between what's in your heart and what comes out of your mouth. Because wellness isn't only a private thing, just something inside of you. Wellness becomes visible in how we connect with others. Jesus tells us this in the words, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Not only a teaching, but a prophetic statement as well. And that's why I believe voice belongs in a conversation about wellness. Because when your voice is trapped, part of you is trapped. Some part of your wellness is still waiting to open up. And when your voice begins to open up, connection begins to open up too. So this became my work. It's kind of like a gift from my wife, even though she's not here anymore. This opening up ourselves so we can create stronger community with the ones we love. And I call this work transformation through voice. And today, I teach people how to develop a confidence they can trust by building a voice they can trust. Not a fake it till you make it confidence, not a performance tips and tricks kind of thing, but the kind of confidence that comes when you're inside and you're outside align. When your mind, heart, and will share a common thread both within and without. When your out loud voice starts carrying the real you and your inner voice agrees. Now, if you felt even a little of that gap today between what's in your heart and what your voice is able to carry, clearing the interference is the work I help people do. And if what we just did together resonates with you, and then I just want to hand you the next step. That little exercise we did, that breath and the hum, that's literally the first page of a free document I put together called Your First Vocal Exercises. It walks you through the rest of that first lesson, how your voice actually works, the 6 sounds that train it, and the 15-minute morning practice. The very exercises that change your whole day, every day, and keep you in communication with others. So if you're interested, grab the document and see where the rest of lesson 1 takes you. And here's exactly how you can do that. Go to prvocalcoaching.com, and I think they're going to put that in the chat here. Click contact, and you'll land on a page that says, let's talk. Then just drop lesson 1 in the message, and I'll send the PDF right to you. That's it. No pressure, just the next step if this feels like something your voice has been asking for. Because look, when the voice behind your voice and your out loud voice agree, not only will your wellness increase, but so too will all the people in your community as they feel the real you, and then they feel safe to share their real selves back to you. So that's my talk for today. Thank you for listening. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much for sharing. That was outstanding. Having to go through a deep loss and coming to terms with that, I can totally identify with you after losing 6 family members.
Mm,
And,
yeah, I'm sorry.
it's really, really quite a journey to go from loss to transforming ourselves and being resilient and being able to function once again. So that story about your transformation is very, very beautiful. How you put that together in helping people to heal and finding their inner voice in healing. So my question to you is, how long did it take you to go through this whole process to coming to the program?
So it's a interesting story. After my wife died, I didn't work for about 6 months. And I'm here in my office, and in my room next to me, I sat in my chair there for 6 months. And you go through all of the grief, and there's a lot of grief to go through. But I always had hope. You don't lose hope. And I always felt like I wanted to go through all of the grief, the depth of the grief, so that it wouldn't keep me from my future. And so you just take the time and you go through that. And that was, she died in June of 2017. And in January of 2018, I went back to work. And shortly after going back to work, that's when I found I had lost my voice. And I'm a coach in the corporate world. My voice is what I use every day. So that was a problem. So I started looking for answers. And I went through that whole thing we talked about. And I would say within the next year or two, I had sort of made my way through all that. But deciding to then share that with others, I hadn't decided that yet. But then I started helping some other people because it hit me. People don't have to lose a spouse. They have other things that hold them back from speaking their mind.
Mhm.
I have recently worked with a client. They grew up in India. It was a lady, and she doesn't think her the way she was brought up was bad, but when she was brought up, she was told, "Hey, girls don't talk." Well, here she is in America, but girls do talk here, and she needs to talk to work in the real world. Finding her voice, reinterpreting the past that doesn't need to be bad is a good thing, and letting that then help her find her voice, that was great for her, and she just took right off, and she's doing great. That's the kind of thing that I help people with, and that's kind of why I started it, because people struggle with those things, and I just felt like maybe this is what I should be doing.
It's amazing, Paul. And I love it because I've been watching, well, over the years, I've done natural stuff, experimented here and there in the Nate and all that kind of stuff, your energy, your body, and how you can release whatever's holding you back. And I was watching this guy, Dr. Doug, just listened to him this week. Again, just as a reminder, like he's a chiropractor and he does all this energy stuff with your body. And it
Mhm.
just intrigued me. And and then you saying with the voice, it makes total sense because it's that blockage we need to get rid of. What is holding us back? And I really love that energy because our body's made of there's energy around us. And I'm
Mhm.
in my personally, when you said take that deep breath and just do that hum, I hum all the time. I'm just catch myself humming. And I don't know if that's my way of, is it, I don't want to say coping, but is it my way just to, my anxiety to come down? I don't know. My grandfather was a hummer. He was
Mhm.
played the drums in the band, big band. He was born in 1900. So in the 30s through the 70s, he retired at 88 from playing the drums. And it just like, I think it's just something that I've learned over the years from him. And I don't know, but it's just like, it's a gift that we have in order to help us heal from within in our confidence, in the fears, whatever we have.
I think so too. I mean, having a gift of humming like that and just it really connects us to ourselves, right? And
Mm.
you don't even know why you're doing it. You just we're fortunate to pick that up. And I agree with you. I think it's a great little thing that you can do. Just it just keeps us connected to ourselves. There's so much in this world today, the digital age and now AI and all this stuff. It's easy to get lost and lose who we are.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
just reconnecting with ourselves in any little way is really helpful. I find each morning when I do my vocal exercises, they connect me with myself before I even get out into the day. And if I miss a morning, it really impacts me because I'm just floundering just a little because I haven't really connected and centered myself. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. Being in voice, it's how I do it, but it's a great thing to be able to do to connect yourself and find that center for any time of the day.
Definitely. Wow. Oh, I could just go on and on. I would love more about it. So I know I did put the thing in the chat, your free gift for us. Thank you so much. And
Mhm.
also on the replay, we'll put that up there too in the YouTube piece of it.
Sure.
Man, this is oh, Paul, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could join you and thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Yes, Paul, it was very, very surreal to hear you talking about the humming. When I think about the humming for myself when I was going through my healing journey, nature was really a part of my big healing, and I found that going into the forest and just listening to the birds and feeling the sunshine on my face. And what saved me was a big old oak tree. I just hugged that big old tree and I said, I felt that vibration of my mother transcending to the spirit world. And it was like spirit was right there healing me by feeling all of these emotions of sadness, but eternal joy, knowing that spirit lives on forever and that love lives on forever. And by sharing your gift, to me, it makes me think about nature and how even the bees hum. And they say that the bees have a vibration of healing. And that first vibration is like part of the impact of communicating with the universe and the higher power, because that's who we are, is our identity, is our, our first words, goo goo gaga, whatever. And sometimes it's just the humming, like la 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 la. And it's very healing. So I think that when we go through grief, we kind of like shut down as a protective measure until we find our way to maneuver through the the interference like you were talking about, to find our own solutions to healing. And for myself, it was like nature. It was like, going deeper, returning back to myself, my own identity. And a lot of times people feel very stuck, like I felt like I was in quicksand when I went through all those losses. However, I did find my voice through nature too, and it's like very different for everyone. And I feel very honored to hear your story, because I find that a lot of men don't speak about their losses so well. And it's really interesting to hear how you were able to maneuver yourself through those weeds of thoughts, of emotions, and, coming together and finding and refining the transformation so that you could be vocal to help heal the world. And I appreciate your impact, from, people from other countries to finding their own personal, I am who I am, returning back to self and
Yeah.
what we're here for. So, so important.
Yeah. No, that's a great story. And everybody has to find their own way. There's no doubt about that. And there are different ways to find your own way.
Mm-hmm.
And this way worked for me, but I was really called to it because I lost my voice. And so I had to do something. And it just, I find it to be, I find it to be really powerful. And in the professional world, I work with a lot of corporate professionals. Almost everyone says, well, we're not supposed to be emotional in the workplace. I find that one of the most troublesome teachings. And I feel like it's true and it's not true at the same time. It's true in this regard. We don't want in the workplace to over emote and have people driven by their emotions. I think that's true. On the other hand, though, we don't want just data and logic because that doesn't produce the kind of outcomes that any business wants to produce. So, learning how to use your voice and connect emotionally with people without over emoting, that's a huge value, no matter what walk of life you're in. And that's one of the things that I think people find as their best outcome in doing this kind of work.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with you. And I think with a lot of organizations, they don't really look at bereavement or anything as really a huge issue. They have maybe a tiny little policy. And
Three days.
yeah, 3 days and that's it.
Yeah.
But I tell organizations it's important to have something like a grief informed charter in which I created for organizations that I work with and implementing that to know how to deal with grief in the workplace
Hmm.
because so many people are affected with it. And how do we move forward as an organization?
Yeah, we all deal with it at some point or another.
Exactly. And why not have best practices right in the workplace
Yeah,
and
I
make
like that.
champions?
I
Make
like.
champions in your own workplace because everybody goes through it.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I
Others.
really am grateful that you were here today for sharing your story, and it really touches my heart, and I'm sure Randy Joe as well. But I wish you all the best in continuing on and come and visit us every now and then, because
I
we
would be happy
certainly
to.
need we certainly need a lot of people talking about these issues
Yeah.
in a healthy manner, and that there is hope out there, and you are that hope.
Mm,
Yes. And it's
thank you.
okay. And it's okay to grieve, right? Not hiding it. And I think too, like whether it is a family member you lose or a close friend, or even if it is a client of yours, like the nurses, when they lose their people they've been working with for a long time, especially in the nursing homes or something like that. Or what even as was I'm probation officer here for the state of Colorado. And when I lose clients, it's like it's okay for me to grieve because you've worked with them. Maybe you've worked with them maybe just for 2 months, or maybe you've gone on to 2 years and it's like you think your voice is saying, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I see the signs because they overdosed? You know, that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate the work you do and that it's out there. And I'm looking forward to using that little protocol you gave us too.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I gotta say, what you said there is really true. People need to learn that grief is a real process and you can go through it and it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And it isn't weak to go through grief. We need to be strong to go through grief and then come out the other side and be okay. And part of it is there is no other side. It's always there, but
Hmm.
it's there in a different way over time.
Hmm. It's how we maneuver it
Yeah.
and
Yep.
get
Mhm.
through it. And yeah, it feels like going through the real darkness of life. But I think it's the ebbs and flows of life that make us who we are and make
Mhm.
us be the light, and sharing that spark because we all come from that spark of life and know that we are the gift and that we need to live it to the best of our abilities each and every day, whatever solution that we bring to the table, an experience that we go through, it is a lesson for someone else. So I appreciate absolutely everything that we've talked about today. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Randy Joe, for sharing. And in closing, for myself, I feel very grateful to have gone through the grief process myself and learning more from yourself, your perspective, because that truly is a gift and it enlightens my soul to know that you're doing this beautiful work. And I too will download that exercise that you have.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Guys, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I love talking about these subjects, and we'll meet again.
Yes, I'm
Awesome.
sure we will.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye,
Take care.
guys.
Bye bye.
Take care.